Hi, my name is Maya, and I'm a graduate student at Unity College, and today I'm going to give you some pointers on how to identify wildlife in California. The major groups of wildlife that I will be describing are mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. Here you can see some common wildlife species found in California. We will go into more detail on specific types of animals in these groups and how they can be identified. When identifying animals in the field, you want to pay attention to the life history features for specific wildlife species in the region. These features can include physical or identifying characteristics, geographic range of the species, the habitat where the species can be found, the species diet, reproductive attributes, conservation and management status, and the role the species may play in its ecosystem. This table shows the life history features for some wildlife species found in California. It can be extremely helpful to recognize key characteristics of the animal you're searching for. Some key characteristics to look for include the animal's shape, size, coloring, and other distinguishing features. Field guides and apps such as iNaturalist can help you distinguish between similar species. It also helps to record details on your observations, such as size, color, or shape, in a journal, or take pictures of what you see. These can be used to compare with the photos in the field guides to correctly identify the species. California is a large and diverse state with many habitats, including coastlines, deserts, grasslands, wetlands, scrublands, and forests. It's important to note that different species can be found in various habitats across the state. Chaparral or prairies may provide a glimpse of a rabbit, quail, or bobcat. Forests and wetlands may lead you to a black-tailed deer or spotted owl. Marshes and creeks host a variety of amphibians and reptiles, including the red-legged frog and San Francisco garter snake. Mammals are animals that have fur and produce milk for feeding their young. Many mammals are nocturnal, which makes them difficult to observe during the daytime. When looking for mammals, you want to keep an eye out for wildlife signs such as tracks, scat, burrows, and calls. Mammals can be identified by the size and shape of their tracks. Another way to identify mammals is by the size, shape, and contents of their droppings, or scat. Scat can be used to determine what types of plants and animals live in the animal's habitat and where the animal has been hunting or grazing. You may also want to look for feeding signs such as chopped grass or gnawed pine cones. Carnivores are mammals that have specialized in eating the flesh of other animals. Some carnivores that are common throughout California include canids such as coyotes and foxes, and large cats such as cougars and bobcats. This is a coyote scat found in Glen Canyon in San Francisco. Coyote scat is rope-like and filled with fur from prey animals. The twisted appearance with pointed ends is typical of canine scat. Coyotes tend to place their scat either in the middle of a road or trail or to the side, such as this one. It is also helpful to bring a ruler or something to compare to the size of the scat. Ungulates are large mammals with hooves. Some ungulates that you may find in California include the Tule elk, black-tailed deer, and bighorn sheep. These ungulates have an even number of toes, which you can see by their tracks. Elk can weigh several hundred pounds more and stand 2 to 4 feet taller than deer. Deer and elk have thin, spindly antlers, while bighorn sheep have large antlers that twist downwards. Here we see a comparison of different tracks made by common ungulate species found in California. Marine mammals such as whales, seals, and sea lions can be spotted in coastal habitats. You may spot a dorsal fin of an orca or a tail fluke of a humpback whale, or you may even see a spout of water from a gray whale. A big splash may indicate that a whale has just breached. It is also important to pay attention to how many are in the group. Orcas travel in pods, while Pacific white-sided dolphins travel in groups of up to thousands of individuals. Here you can see a gray whale breaching and a northern elephant seal vocalizing on a beach. Moving on to our next group, we have our feathered friends that we know of as birds. There are around 450 bird species that can be found in California. Birds are vertebrates that have feathers, lay hard-shelled eggs, and can fly. Some birds that can be found in California include songbirds, such as sparrows and finches, waterfowl, such as ducks, geese, and swans, shorebirds, such as plovers and sandpipers, wading birds, such as egrets and herons, and upland birds, such as quail and pheasants. Some birds are resident birds, which live here year-round, while others are migrant birds. Neotropical birds, such as the western tanager, breed in California and migrate south of the continental U.S. during non-breeding seasons. To observe birds, you may find having binoculars and a stool to sit on to be very helpful to view them more easily. You want to take note of the bird's behaviors, whether it is singing, climbing up a tree, or diving into water. Recognizing the flight patterns of different species can be helpful. Many small birds flutter their wings, while red-tailed hawks fly with deep, regular wing beats and soar in circles. You may want to get familiar with bird calls and songs, since you will often hear birds before seeing them. You also want to pay attention to the type of habitat where the bird is. This can tell you a lot about which species you're looking at. For example, raptors are often spotted in open areas with scattered, elevated perches, such as grasslands or agricultural fields. The next group I will be discussing are reptiles. Reptiles are cold-blooded vertebrates that are distinguished by having a dry, scaly skin and typically laying soft-shelled eggs on land. Some reptiles that can be found in California include snakes, lizards, and turtles. Lizards have legs while snakes do not, and turtles have legs and a large shell on their backs. Here you can see a San Francisco garter snake, western pond turtle, and western fence lizard. You may not see reptiles right away, but they can be observed quite easily if you know where to look for them. To spot a snake or lizard, look for places where they could bask in the sun, such as rocks or in trees. You may come across a San Francisco garter snake slithering or laying across a trail while hiking. You will most likely find a western pond turtle in or around a body of water like a large pond or lake. Turtles are often observed swimming in the water near the water's edge or around rock piles. Skinks can be found in leaf litter, under fallen logs, on top of rock piles, and tree stumps. Here is a western skink basking on a tree stump. Amphibians are cold-blooded vertebrates that spend part of their lives in water and part on land. They externally fertilize their eggs, and the young undergo metamorphosis from larvae with gills to an adult air-breathing form with lungs. Amphibians also use their skin as a secondary respiratory surface. Some amphibians that you may see in California include the California newt, California tiger salamander, and mountain yellow-legged frog. A good way to see a variety of amphibians is by road surveying. Because amphibians can't control their body temperature, they like to take advantage of the concrete, which stays warm into the colder nights. They can often be spotted traveling across roads to lakes or ponds where they mate and lay their eggs. You may see amphibian egg masses in still bodies of water. Here you can see a California red-legged frog egg mass and a California newt crossing the road. Many of these wildlife species are listed as federally threatened or endangered and need our help and support to protect and conserve their natural habitats. The island fox is federally endangered, and the marbled murrelet is endangered in California. The main threat to these species, as well as many other species in California, is habitat loss. Here are my references, and thanks for learning about how to identify and observe wildlife in California. I hope that you're able to go out and observe these amazing animals soon.